Hello, gentlemen. Today I'm going to give you 5 tips that are going to help you get better at College Football 25. Now, before I get into it, I do have a question for you guys. Let me know in the comment section which game you plan on playing more, Madden 25 or College Football 25. I'm definitely curious about how many of you are just Madden players who are killing time until Madden 25 drops, and how many of you are just dedicated College Football 25 players. So let me know in the comment section. Now let's get into it. Make sure you use the timestamps if you guys want to jump around between tips. Tip number 1 is be very careful when you decide to use press coverage, and the reason for that is the takeoff ability. If you have no idea what takeoff does, it basically gives you a juiced release off the line of scrimmage, and there's so many wide receivers that have it. So pay attention to the slot. If we press out of this cover 0, what you're going to see is that we are going to give up a one-play touchdown because he just gets a super fast release off the line of scrimmage. But if we leave our defender backed off, you're going to see takeoff still activates, but he's still not going to get that same separation. So especially if you're calling cover 0, be very careful calling press. But if you're calling like a cover 2 man or something, you'll be okay. Tip number 2 is do not throw crossbody. This is kind of a beginner's tip, but I'm going to go somewhat in depth with this because there's multiple things I want to show you. So what we're going to do is scramble with Milroe and make a couple throws. So first, let's just go ahead and let's just put a route combo in the field. I'll roll out of the pocket to the right. And the first thing I want to show you isn't really crossbody. It's more so being aware of your quarterback's shoulders. And here's a good example. So what you want to do when you roll out with right trigger, by the way, watch Milroe's throw. You get out and you see how I'm kind of like facing the sideline with my shoulders. You want to make sure that you round them upfield and face your target with your shoulders before you make that throw. So I'm going to go ahead and just block my tight end so I can really make sure I get this double team. But watch my quarterback shoulders this time. Notice how it's a way more accurate throw. That is because you now have your shoulders facing upfield. Look at instant replay, and then we are going to talk about crossbody throws in just a second, but this kind of goes in tandem with it. I wanted to make sure you guys fully understand this, but you see the shoulders are facing upfield at his target, and it's a much, much better throw. So what I'm going to demonstrate now is a crossbody throw. So you need to know what your quarterback's handedness is. So you need to know if he's a left-handed quarterback or a right-handed quarterback. And the reason for that is if you scramble out with Milroe to the left, he's a right-handed quarterback. And if you try to make this throw, he can make it because he's a good quarterback, but it's a much, much harder to throw. Like if you look at how he has to make this throw, pay attention to his shoulders. You're going to see that he has to kind of like rotate them and kind of leap off that back foot. And it's just a harder throw. Now, it's going to be easier when the route is going to the same side of the field that you're rolling out to. Let's say you wanted to throw the crosser to B, which would be really stupid, or to Y. But you're going to see that it's a much harder throw that, you know, he's pretty good. I can't believe he actually caught that. But just please don't do that unless you know what you're doing. Very specific quarterbacks can do it, but for the most part, it's a bad idea. And then the other thing I'll try to demonstrate is throwing across your body to the middle of the field. So I'll put my running back on an angle route. And you want to avoid doing stuff like this typically because bad things are just going to happen. Like, yes, you can complete passes this way. If you really know what you're doing, then go for it. But it's just kind of a bad practice to do. And this is taught at the NFL level as well. Like when you're rolling one way, you really only want to throw it to the half of the field that you're rolling to. So like basically look at the hash mark. You want the routes to be coming from left to right in this case, and you're only looking for options that are on your half of the field. And if you don't like it, then you throw the ball away. That's kind of what's taught. In this case, you know, we throw it across the middle of the field to our running back, who he isn't technically covered, but it's a very difficult throw, and it'll just oftentimes get picked. So please don't do it. Tip number 3 is that your user needs to be in coverage to use switch stick. And I've gone over this in a different video, so some of you probably have seen this already. But for those of you who haven't, do not blitz your user. Like in most cases, you do not want to. In some cases, you can be like, okay, I don't want to switch stick. I'm going to blitz my user and help my pass rush. That's fine. But if you want to switch stick, you have to be in a zone, you have to be in a man up, or you have to be in a spy. All of these are going to work. Snap the ball. You're going to see I can use my right stick. I can jump around. But if you do it while blitzing, you're going to see that you cannot do that. So right stick, I'm tapping it. I'm staying on the same defender the entire time, and he just dives to the ground. So if you want to use switch stick, do not be in coverage. But in some rare cases, if you just want to help your pass rush, let's say you want to send 3 at the quarterback, it will be okay to blitz your user, but just know that you're not going to be able to switch stick. Tip number 4 is if you're facing somebody who's using a ton of option plays, so like read options, speed options, things of that nature, you should be using your coaching adjustments to take certain things away. So we're at the defensive play call screen. We're going to tap our right stick in or push it in. And you have these adjustments here, option defense read key and option defense pitch key. If you want to force the handoff to the running back every single time, you're going to want to put these on conservative. So this one plays the quarterback, and then this one will focus on the quarterback on the option. So let's have a look. So let's watch the read key. Read key in this case is that edge defender with the R above him. And you're going to see that he plays the quarterback. And that's going to happen every single time. He doesn't make the tackle because Milroe is just college Jesus. But that's how you force the handoff. And that's very important because a lot of people want to run with their quarterback instead of handing it off to their running back. And this dictates it every single time. And for tip number 5, do not make any adjustments when you're under 5 seconds on the play call screen or play clock, because you will get false starts all the time. As you can see, we just got a flag. As soon as it goes under 5 seconds and you're making some kind of adjustment, it could be offensive line protection, it could be putting a receiver on a hot route. This is going to happen constantly. And it's very annoying. Honestly, I don't like the change. I understand from a simulation standpoint, it's somewhat realistic, but you know, it's just kind of frustrating. Sometimes some setups take a long time to do, and you won't have time without getting a false start. So as you're going to see, we're about to get one. If we keep making adjustments, there's a false start. So be mindful of that. Even after the patch, you can get false starts under 5 seconds. So that's going to be it for the 5 tips. Make sure to leave a comment on which game you plan on playing more. And then if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the content. See you guys in the next one.